Hello, everyone, and welcome to Environmental Sciences 101. My name is Wes Swenson, and I'm excited to be here with all of you. This is my very first semester as a full time faculty member at CAC, and I could not be more excited to begin this semester with all of you. I have taught a variety of different courses from intro to biology, microbiology, genetics, and so on, but this is my first year teaching ENV 101. I'm sure there's going to be a few bumps along the road as I navigate the course with you. And so please reach out to me if you spot any issues or errors. But I think we're going to cover a lot of really interesting topics here. That's me in the middle, the overly ecstatic student researcher studying the algal food pyramids in Arctic Alaska. Um, My core research at Arizona State University was actually in biofuel production with cyanobacteria that we genetically engineered to produce biofuels. Personally, this is me and my family, my wife and our daughter, who's now a 1 year old, and we have a menagerie of cats as well. Now, for the course, this course is an online format. It's worth 4 credit hours. It is entirely online, except for a few caveats there, which we will get into in a moment. But if you're interested in finding my office hours, either in person at the Maricopa campus, room B118G, or meeting with me virtually. I do have a sign up for meeting virtually. You can find it in the syllabus as well. All you need to do is click on the Calendly link. You need to sign up 24 hours in advance so that I can make sure that I'm prepared to meet with you at that date and time. But I have 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. available every Monday and Friday by appointment. This course is primarily offered online. Students can access lectures, materials, and assignments through Blackboard. Although the course is online, there are still due dates for assignments. This is to ensure that students stay on track and complete their coursework in a timely manner. One unique aspect of this course is that exams must be taken in person at one of the school's campuses testing centers. This provides a more secure and controlled environment for students to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding of the course material. As we will see, exams are available over a 3 day time window during testing center hours. If this is something a student cannot do, then they will need to drop this course before the last day to drop for a refund date, which is listed in the syllabus. Additionally, the course includes a field trip and a field soil collection, which is a great opportunity for students to get out of the virtual classroom and engage in a hands on learning experience. This field trip allows students to apply what they've learned in a real world setting, making the course both engaging and practical. Again, if this is not something that interests you, this course might not be right for you as well. Blackboard is your school's learning management system, your LMS, where you can access course materials, assignments, and grades. Your CAC student email is your official email address for communication, where you will get alerts for messages and announcements found on Blackboard. However, it is the policy of the college and of this course that all day to day communications happen through Blackboard messaging. This keeps communications cleaner and more contained within the classroom. I get tons of emails every day from colleagues, administration, even publishers trying to sell me products. And I may overlook an email from my students. However, I check my Blackboard messages each day. And if a message comes in, I know it is a student that I need to get to. We will be using Microsoft Office, such as Word for uh, your assignment worksheets and reports. And for presentations, we will be using PowerPoint. The cloud version of all of these programs is available to all CAC students, so everyone should have access to those. And I want to remind you of that because I don't want you to do an assignment using a different type of presentation software. And then when you submit it, it gets rejected and you have to rewrite the whole thing all over again in PowerPoint. SoftChalk is an e-learning authoring tool that contains the textbook for this course. It will be located, it will be the location for the textbook and reading questions that will be due each week embedded in the textbook. And we will talk more on SoftChalk in a bit. Lastly, students will need a form of transportation for both their field trip and to acquire a soil sample for one of our labs. And there are some materials that you will need to acquire for our Winogradsky lab. These are minimal materials that are commonly found in grocery stores. Here is a point breakdown for the class. We see at the top here a syllabus quiz. That's an easy 20 points for you to earn at the very beginning of the semester that just quizzes to make sure that you read the syllabus. There is a field trip that's going to be due later, much later in the semester, worth 40 points, or 2 lab activities. There are going to be 3 exams, each worth 100 points total, and that's going to make up a significant portion of your grade, as you can see here. Then the lab activities were 240 points. Then the soft chalk questions. So those are the questions that are embedded in the textbook itself. They're going to be worth 10 points each. There are 12 chapters, so 120 points. And each week there will be a weekly assignment, except for exam weeks. And so we're looking at 13 of those worth 10 points a piece, relatively the same amount for the soft chalk questions. The syllabus has 2 sets of schedules, one for lecture-related assignments. These will include the textbook reading questions and weekly assignments. Every chapter, like I said, has reading questions, but the weekly assignments can be discussion boards, quizzes, or a micro-teaching assignment. It's very important to complete these assignments on time because often they will tie into the lab material. So with a snapshot of the schedule, you can see there's a topic for each week. And then there's going to be a list of assignments that are due each week. Now, since we get started on a topic, say a chapter here in the beginning of the first week, it's not going to be due until the following Tuesday. So you'll see chapter 1 will be due the following week, end of Tuesday. And same with the weekly assignments. So if there's a weekly assignment that's going to be based on a prior chapter, so for example, this chapter 1 quiz, it's going to be due the following week as well. There is also a student questionnaire that needs to be completed this week. So make sure you get the student questionnaire done, and we'll show you more on that when we navigate through Blackboard later on. And as we move further down the week, by week 3, we're going to start working on a micro teach. This micro teach will have instructions, but students are going to be put into groups, and then they're going to teach a particular topic from the last 3 chapters, chapters 1 through 3, and then present it to me through Blackboard Collaborate. Okay. All right. Now here is the lab schedule. And as we can see from the lab schedule, well, this is more the lectures themselves. I do have presentations that I do, and they're embedded in the soft chalk chapter as well. I'll show you more on that later. The labs themselves are independent of the textbook. And so, like today, we're having a welcome and orientation. The following week, we're going to be doing a lab on analyzing scientific data. And you're going to have a learning module that correlates with each week. And I might have a presentation that just gives you directions on how to operate the lab, or maybe I might just send out an announcement if it's all pretty self evident as you go through the lab materials. You're going to find all of the lab materials listed there under each lab module. There is a faculty development day here on week 6 where there's no lab assignments due. Spring break, there are no lab assignments due, nor on exam weeks either. So look out for that. And now let's talk a little bit about the exams. Again, there are 3 exams. They will include a variety of multiple choice and matching questions, as well as a few short essay questions. You will have 50 minutes to complete each exam in a single sitting. They again are going to be at the testing center, so you're going to need to schedule 24 hours in advance with the testing center to make sure that your time slot, they have a time slot available to you, and you will need to bring a photo ID for that exam as well. There are 12 lab activities worth 20 points apiece, and a portion of these will be done at home or in the field there, and then most of it is just done virtually wherever you do your labs. And some of these materials that are done at home or in the field are going to be provided by you. So, for example, in this Winogradsky lab, you're going to set up an experiment where you grow microbes in a soil culture. And so you're going to have to go out and harvest this soil. That means you might need a bucket, you might need something to shovel the material into. You can use your hands, but and get creative there. But you're going to have to provide that, and you're also going to have to provide some water bottles in order to load the soil into, some eggs, and some scrap paper. So it's really minimal in the types of materials you need. The soft chalk questions come in a variety of different formats. Here we see students are required to order the units of biological organization from smallest to largest. They might be flashcards that you have to organize into different categories. They might be true or false questions, multiple choice questions, or matching questions, but no short essay questions are going to be required on the soft chalk chapters. So just basically making sure you're following along in the material here. The weekly activities, again, 13 of them were 10 points apiece. That's 130 points total. They can be discussion boards. They're largely going to be chapter assessment quizzes, though, and a micro teach. One field trip. And what this field trip is, the students are going to be able to choose to travel to a destination that's related to the content found in the course and answer questions about their location. So this could be a zoo, it could be a museum, it could be a national park, a wilderness preserve, et cetera, maybe a waste management facility. Um, you're going to just get permission from me to use that as your field trip to write upon. And once approved, you can go ahead and get at it. There is attendance for the class. Like any class, online classes have attendance as well at CAC. If a student fails to complete assignments during a week, that student is considered absent. And I would just like to make mention here that submitting a lab or an assignment where one just guesses through all of the problems, and I can see that that's the case, it's not going to count as doing the work. And so that will be counted as an absence. Any student who does not participate for 2 consecutive weeks will receive a failing grade for the course. Students may turn late assignments in, however, there are consequences. All assignments submitted after their due date will receive a 10% deduction for every day late after the specified due date and time. So let me show you what I mean by that. For example, weekly activities are due each Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. So let's say that a student submits their weekly activity the next day at 6 a.m. This assignment will receive a 10% deduction. So if it's worth 10 points, they will automatically have 1 point removed from that weekly assignment. And if they turn it in the following day, then that's 2 points removed. This, of course, does not apply to exams, which do not allow assignments, which are not a regular assignment that can be turned in late. Academic integrity is something I take very seriously in this class. All written assignments, including exams, will be screened through a plagiarism software and manually curated for plagiarism. Plagiarism is not tolerated in any of the courses I teach, and everything must be written in your own words. So do not Google answers to questions. Use your textbook and the lecture material, and then write it in your own words. It shows me that you have internalized the answer and you know what you're saying, and it's not just a matter of rote memorization. The first infraction will result in a 0 score on the assignment, and the second infraction will lead to a failure in the class due to academic dishonesty. And what do I mean by writing answers in your own words? Well, let's take an example here of plagiarism. And so the question presented to the student was, what is environmental science? And here we can see the Britannica.com answer. It says environmental science, interdisciplinary academic field that draws on ecology, geology, meteorology, biology, chemistry, engineering, and physics to study environmental problems and human impacts on the environment. And so what the student has done here is they've basically taken that answer and they've interjected a couple of their own pronouns, rearranged the words in this list here, um, and basically just rewrote the sentence and just changed a few words to make it not appear as though it was something that was just taken from Britannica.com. And when this is done, first, we're not providing credit to Britannica.com for this answer, nor can we really tell if the student actually knows that that's the answer. And at the end of the day, the purpose of this course is to learn things. And so, because I cannot tell the difference here, you wouldn't get credit for this sort of an answer, and it would be marked as plagiarism. Let's revisit this again. And here the student read the textbook and they came up with their own answer for what environmental science is, and probably a better answer at that. The answer they provided is environmental science is the study of the biotic and abiotic components, that means living or non living components, of the environment and how they interact with one another. To do so, it combines the fields of many sciences such as biology, physics, geography, oceanography, etc., and the influence that humans have on it. Now, if a student has special circumstances, such as being a student athlete or registered accessibility accommodations, please alert me as soon as you possibly can. You need to be registered with the school if you do have accessibility accommodations. And then that's the proper channel to let me know what those accommodations will be. And if you're a student athlete, of course, I need to know that as well for understanding why your absences might occur or why you might, need some extra help on a particular assignment, so on and so forth. A few tips for being successful in ENV 101 or any class. Don't fall behind. Um, Make a schedule for yourself. Make daily habits. Check your Blackboard regularly and your CAC email regularly. Stay on top of assignments. Stay on top of your weekly assignments. Get started ahead of time. on those. Don't just wait until the day that they're due and then you're cramming everything in. Um, the assignments are there at the end of the week. And the goal of the assignments are to test the knowledge that you've gathered throughout the week by studying. If you're having issues, ask for my help and regularly engage with me during office hours. And make sure that you communicate. If you communicate with me, you're becoming an active learner, and that's going to help you be successful in the class. Tips for improving your learning. I recommend to students that before they start a new chapter or a new lecture to always review the last lecture's PowerPoint notes before continuing and become an active learner. So ask questions. A question is not a dumb question if you learned a lesson in the end. And also, I recommend answering your own questions. And by that, I mean pause throughout the lecture videos and ask yourself some questions on the material. See if you can create the answer on your own and see, always check yourself and that your understanding is coming along with the course. Additionally, you must develop consistent daily studying habits. If you're not having good daily study habits, you're not going to be successful in this course. It's a tough course. You want to maybe stay focused by avoiding eating or playing on social media, streaming services, basically multitasking while studying. Um, there are the lecture videos provided online that you can listen to. So I recommend listening to the lectures um, a few times or at least a couple of times before you take any notes on whatever isn't sticking. If you just listen to the lecture and you write down every single word I say, your hand is going to be tired. You're going to write a whole textbook and it's going to take too long for you to get through all of that and then restudy that whole textbook. What you want to do is take concise notes on what you're not understanding. So if you listen to the lecture all the way through and then you come back and listen to it again, you might be like, hey, I understand A, B, C, D, but E, I couldn't remember. I better write that down and take a note of that. I recommend when you take notes, I think that using 3x5 note cards is a real winner. Um, you can use 3x5 note cards and write a concept on one side or maybe a term or definition on one side and then have the answer on the other side. And you can continually test yourself on that material, make yourself mini tests on these note cards until you have that piece of information memorized down pack. So that covers the basics for the course. Let's go ahead and jump over to Blackboard and show you how to navigate. All right, so this is what your Blackboard shell will look like here. Um, there's a Start Here module that you can click on. It's going to have your student right to know, a variety of CAC resources if you want to click here and get information about the testing center or advising, things like that. Here is the syllabus and schedule. Now you will be required to read the syllabus and schedule, and then you need to sign the syllabus contract for the course, which is required for moving on throughout the course, and take the syllabus quiz. Um, and then additionally, right here, we have virtual office hours. You can get extra help. Go ahead and click here. It'll take you to Calendly, and you can sign up for a particular office hour on Monday or Friday. Um, as long as you do so 24 hours in advance, Calendly will automatically block out the calendar. So say you want to sign up for Friday and it's Thursday afternoon. Friday is not going to be available for you to sign up. You'll have to wait until Monday. If we scroll down here lower, we have our first learning module here. Everything is not quite up yet here, but you can see, again, the syllabus contract, the syllabus quiz. There is a chapter 1 study guide. You'll have a week 1 discussion board to participate in. And if we go over here, and soon to be, there is going to be the lab listed here as well. So everything's here. Now, right here, Chapter 1, Introduction to Environmental Sciences. This is going to take you to SoftChalk. So go ahead and click there. and click launch. And here we are. Here we can see that there are 11 pages to this chapter. Now, each chapter is going to have a set of learning outcomes, and I will have a lecture video. You can see ENV 101, Chapter 1, Page 1. Here it is. Here's the first lecture video for the course. And you are required to watch these lecture videos. These lecture videos are going to explain the content. And there's a bunch of other videos here. These are just extras for you. So here's History of Earth in 9 minutes. This is not an ENV video. So I wanted to show you the difference there and how they're presented. So you can play this, or you can watch it on YouTube, or you can play it while you read over the material. That's all great. And then if we keep scrolling down further, here we can see our activities. So again, there are soft chalk questions that are due every week. This one, you're going to order the biological units from smallest to greatest here. And then you're going to submit your answer. Okay, here's another one. And when you get all the way to the end, I don't know if it'll show it for me as an instructor. It's not showing it to me, but you will have a submit button when you're all done, and you need to hit that submit button to save your answers into the gradebook, and it will automatically enter your score into the gradebook. Okay, so that's about it. You do have a to-do list this week. It includes looking at the syllabus and scheduling any virtual office hours if you need any additional help, completing the syllabus contract, the syllabus quiz, the textbook questions, and reading the chapter 1. You can use the chapter 1 study guide to aid in your learning there. Complete the weekly discussion board. There will not be a quiz for this first week here, but there is going to be actually a lab I think for week 2 here. So I will send out an announcement on that in a short little while. But all of you, good luck in the course again. Let me know if you have any questions at all, and we'll talk to you later.